Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, or whenever you're watching this live episode. It's recorded, to be frank with. So today we have got an exceptional speaker. What she's going to give us is one of the things which we all wanted as an entrepreneur, being on TEDx. At least I don't know about you, at least me, I wanted to be on TEDx stage for quite a while. I've never achieved it up until now. However, it's about sharing our story and making a difference in others' life. As an entrepreneur, that's what we wanted. We wanted to make a difference in other people's life. We wanted to make an impact on how we are going to change this world, even a small bit before we leave this earth. So to this little bit about the expert interview show, and then I'll go and introduce our expert for today, Vaishali. So this expert interview show, it's on season 6, and it started in 2018. Since then, I am bringing you insights and strategies from successful entrepreneurs and industry experts to help you achieve success sooner. That's the motive of this show. Our engaging and fun interviews, hopefully, have covered a wide range of topics such as marketing, sales, mindset, and personal development. So, if these type of content resonates with you, please do subscribe, follow, like, and comment so that we can reach more entrepreneurs just like you. Now, about today's episode. Today's episode, we are joined by, as I said, exceptional speaker, a transformational coach, and a TEDx coach. Her name is Vaishali Patel, and she has got years of experience in speaking industry, and she has helped so many individuals master the art of public speaking and also becoming a successful TEDx speakers. She has been in the industry marketing tradition. That's what she says. I've been in a traditional marketing, but anyway, there's no traditional or current marketing. But she has been in the marketing and in communications field for decades before she transformed herself and be find her voice. And she's been invited to by a TEDx curator to speak about a transformation, how she transformed herself. Her story is exceptional, by the way. I'll put the link in the description down below so you can go and watch her TEDx talk. Anyway, let me stop talking and bring her on and listen to what she has got to give us today. Hey, Vaishali, I'll bring you on the show. How are you?
I'm great. How are you, Sudha?
I'm fine. Thanks. Thank you very much. Thanks for bearing up with me when I was waffling around. Anyway, so tell us a little bit about you and how you came about becoming speaker's coach or transformational coach um, after being in marketing and communications for ages.
Okay, sure. So it's actually really funny because when I was 13 at school, my a teacher said, see, before the age of 13, I was very clear I wanted to go into counseling. I wanted to be a counselor. I wanted to help people. And then at 13, a teacher at school said, you have a big mouth. You'll be really good in marketing. And that's it, like I think I was so influenced and I thought, there, I have a strength and I'm going to use this strength and I'm going to marketing. And I wanted a career in market research because, in market research, you get to talk to people, you get to gain insights.
Yeah.
And so I think the whole career of wanting to work with people and then also using my voice and speaking all started at the age of 13. And I had a long career in marketing. And then it was about 7-8 years ago that I started I was always into personal development, some form of spirituality or something. But I came across a personal and professional training and development course. And part of the work there, they offered the ability to coach on their programs and things like that. And I started coaching on their programs, and I started to see that I was very good at transforming people. It was very easy for me to listen to the point of like where I could hear that they had a limiting belief or something. And inside of doing that, I decided I wanted to do more of that work. But the interesting thing was, one of the things about that work is, you do the work yourself as a coach, you work on yourself. And a question one of the leaders there asked me is, what lights you up? What inspires you? And I remember saying, I don't know. I don't remember. And I went to the park one day. I was sat there meditating, and I remembered how much I loved entertainment, how much I loved watching live music, live theater, and things like that. And I started to remember how much I love dance, and I started to notice that these modalities of dance, meditation, art like drawing and doing theater, and even solo traveling, which I did as well, were all sort of reflective exercises for me to see what was going on for me, really. Because I'm going to come back to this, but yeah, so I saw what was going on for me, and I decided that I would create a transformational approach using the creative arts, using expressive arts. And in that journey, there was a minister of gender affairs in Dominica that became aware of it and wondered if they could use it in Dominica to economically empower women there through entrepreneurship, so that they would be financially independent and not stay in abusive households because they were reliant on their male partners for money. And in that process, I decided I needed to get credibility in raising finances for this workshop to be held in Dominica. And I remember it was July 2019, and I was in one of these courses, which was called The Power to Create. And one of the things they say is declare what you want to achieve. So I declared I want to do a TEDx talk by the end of the year. And it was so mental because it was 6 months. For me, being a TEDx speaker and being on a TEDx stage was something that you had to be an expert. You had to be really good, really expert. And it was not something that I did. It was for other people. But I wanted to challenge myself. And I thought that would be a good challenge. And if this whole power to create stuff works, let's see, right? So I declared it. And what happened was there was another lady on the program who was a curator for TEDx events in Slovenia. And I reached out to her and I said, how do you select speakers? I want to know, because I want to do a talk next year, right? So I already changed the date to next year because I was the fear of actually doing it was very much there. I was so scared because I didn't know how to do it. And I also still thought, this is a nice idea. Let's see. And, she basically asked me, what's my idea? And I said, my idea is empowering women's self-expression through the creative arts. And she said, send me some more information. So I sent her a couple of paragraphs, and I sent her a video so she could see what my stage performance was like. They want to see how you speak. And after that, she said, I'll connect you. Our event in the capital of Slovenia was full, but I know there's one in another city, and I'll connect you to the curator there. And I thought, oh my God, no. I said, I just want to know how the process works. I don't want to, I'm not ready to do it right now. And the funny thing was, she introduced me to her, and in September I had a conversation, and by December I was in Friday the 13th December. I was in Slovenia on the stage doing my TEDx talk, and I found out experientially how you become a TEDx speaker, right? So that's the journey of how I got to be a TEDx speaker. I still do marketing consultancy on the side, so it's not, I haven't completely moved over into one. I do both of them side by side, and I enjoy that. But yeah, that
Oh,
was
that's very interesting. So, you mentioned just now that in 2019 you became a TEDx speaker, as you said your intention out to the universe. So, how long have you been helping other TEDx speakers? I'm going to work with you, as I said before that. I wanted to bring you on to help others as well. How you've been helping people from the point onwards after you became a TEDx speaker. That gave you an insight on how to create a talk because you never had a talk before or TEDx talk before you even applied to be a TEDx speaker, right? So how do one go about and create their story? Sometimes let me be the example. I have got lots of hang up on whether my story is going to resonate with people. That's one thing. And the second thing is, as I said in the intro, I have been wanting to become a TEDx speaker since 2014 or something like that. Since 2014, I wanted to become. But even before that, there is a story. That story is back in 2000, 1999. I was in US, um, California. I attended the first TED speaking event. It was new, very brand new. I got invitation through one of the work colleague, and we went. And since then, I've been wanting to be on that, but it was in the background. I was like, never became. It never uh, became a reality. But in 2014, I saw TEDx speaker or event. I was in TEDx event as an audience. I said, I want to go. And Glasgow had a TEDx stage. But since then, I've been applying to different TEDx stage. I've been rejected. What am I doing wrong? First thing. And second thing is, how can my story equate to their theme? Sometimes you've got
Mm,
a story, you never know how to equate it to their theme or how to plug it into their theme. Whereas I've seen many people who do that.
yeah, it's
What the story is, they seem to plug into any theme whatsoever. How do I create that story?
sure. So there's quite a few questions there. I can tackle each one, and if I miss something, please do
Yeah,
tell
of
me.
course. Yeah, I'll
Um,
give you right. Yeah.
so the first thing is I started off supporting people in their TEDx talks a year after I did my TEDx talk. So
Okay.
my TEDx talk came out in April 2020, and unfortunately, I couldn't do much to promote it because I was lying on the sofa with COVID. So when it came out, it's a really critical time when your TEDx talk comes out. Most of the time you won't know when they put it on YouTube. So when I found out, I was on the sofa, and my nephew in the US messaged me and said, "Your talk's out." And I thought, "Oh my God." I looked at it and I thought, "Oh, look, I saw it on YouTube." And then I went back to sleep. But I was so sick. So a year later, to celebrate the 1 year anniversary of doing a TEDx talk, I decided I want to give it away to people because after I did the talk, a lot of people in my community hadn't done a talk, and they were asking me, "How do you get on the stage? Help me?" and this and that. So I was helping people, but it became more structural when a year later I decided I was going to help people, and I created a free masterclass to help people understand the process. And I did it with my TEDx coach. And then after that, we created some group coaching programs to help people create their pitch and create their talks and things like that. So yeah, since 2021, I've been supporting in groups or individually. Your second question around how do I come up? I'm going to start with how do I come up with an idea that people will like, and a story that people will resonate with, right? So everyone has, this is my opinion, but everybody has a story. Everybody has an idea inside of them. And there's 8 billion people in the world. Your story is going to resonate with someone, right? So, like that's one of the things I would say. Like, there's so much experience. There's an life experiences that you've had, and or even at work, you may think a certain way, and they will resonate with people. You've got to believe and know and think that it will resonate. It will make a difference, right? So you've got to believe that to start with. One of the things that will keep you committed throughout the process is really knowing your why. Why do you want to do this? Why do you want to do a TEDx talk? And there's so many reasons. People want to do a TEDx talk for various reasons. They want to make a difference. They want to raise their credibility. They want to be an expert in their field, seen as a thought leader. Some people just want to beat their own self and know that they can, beat a fear of public speaking, and what better stage to do that on than the red dot. So there's so many whys, but as long as you're emotionally connected to your why, that will keep you going through the process, right? So then how do you create a talk that's aligned with an event's theme? So I'll give you an example. I have a lady that I'm working with who is pitching for a event in Ireland. She's been asked to come, and she got through the first round. Now she's going to come into the second round. And initially I found out the theme was connection, and a connection meaning community, like everyone in it together, doing it together. And her talk is about mentoring. So all we did was like go, right, okay, let's feed that in. And there was another talk that we applied for, and the theme was sustainability and environment. And so the idea we came up with is to have a sustainable world, you have to empower, if 50% of the world's population are women, then to have a sustainable world, we need to ensure those women are empowered. And one of the ways to do that is through mentoring. So we always find a way to put the theme into the talk. Another event, the theme is connection. And one of my potential clients was saying, well, my talk is about having a vision. So how can I talk there? And it's like, well, you've got to connect to yourself to have a vision. Then you've got to be connected to the vision to take actions. And those actions are going to be about connecting to the people. So there's always a way to bring the theme in to your talk.
Okay.
It's about being creative, about how you bring that in. So yeah, there's always a way to bring it in. You mentioned that you'd been applying to different TEDx events and not sure why you weren't getting through. I don't know, because I haven't seen your pitch, right? But from the pitches that I have seen, I can tell you 2 or 3 things that I have seen that don't work, right? One of them is the pitch is written in the style of an academic paper, or it's too long. Like someone had a 7-minute video. It's too long. Also, so I would say you know, a video could be anything up to a minute or two. You don't want to make it longer than that. Your video for a pitch needs to be succinct. You need to be able to enroll them in your idea in a very succinct way, right?
Mm.
And when you create your pitch as well, one of the things that I learned from my own TEDx coach was to look at the three or four different ways people learn.
Yeah.
So there you get people that are the what people. What is this? What? Uh, Tell me more about it. You get the why people. Why? Why should I care? Why is it this way? Then you get the how people. Tell me how it works. The engineers, right? How does it work? You know, show me how. And then you get the what if people. Like, oh, what if this happens? The curious. If you can create a very like one paragraph or two pitch on answering those four different ways people learn, you've got a very powerful pitch there. And
Okay,
usually,
that's interesting. Maybe I've gone wrong with that because I am a science person, so it's more very rigid structure. That's very interesting. So we've got the pitch. We've somehow created, not somehow, with your help, you've created a story. So how do you did say that the theme is connection, and my one of your client is um was talking about vision, or one of the other client were talking about mentoring. So how can I, because the TEDx stage is like most of the time it is not similar to other stages where you speak on a subject which you are very good at. Um, how is that? Whereas TEDx, you don't talk about the subject. You talk about your story. You talk about what is that idea which made who you are. So how do we, my question is really on two level. How do we create that story which is universal, which talks to everyone, and how do you raise your profile as an expert or a thought leader from the same story? How do we get these two things merged?
so the first thing is, I think, so the first thing is TED, the initials stand for technology, entertainment, and design.
Yeah.
But a lot of the old TED talks, we were very much focused around that and was selected around those topics. But now you see topics, ideas that are, they're more selected on what do people want to hear. So you see more sort of talks around personal development things and things like that. So they don't have to be so scientific, etc. in nature. The secret sauce of giving a TEDx talk is for it to be authentic and for you to deliver it in your authentic way, right? So your
Mm.
idea, it doesn't have to be groundbreaking science. It doesn't have to be solving a maths equation, but it's just a unique idea that gets people to think differently. At the end of the day, that's what TED is about. It's about getting people to think differently, or maybe even do something differently, right? So, for example, I'll give you an idea. The shortest TEDx talk I've seen, and the one that baffled me the most, was this guy, and his idea is you only need one paper towel to wash and dry your hands, and that's how we save the planet. And the whole TEDx talk is a tap. He's washing his hands. He takes one paper towel, he dries it, he folds it, he dries it, he folds it again, he dries it, puts it in the bin. He does this about 4 times. And that's how he demonstrates his idea. His idea is just use one paper towel to dry your hands and we'll save the planet. So a very simple idea. But it's the way he delivered it on stage, the way he demonstrated it as well. That he got on a stage, he did his TEDx talk, it's on YouTube, It's out there, right? So, like I said, the idea doesn't have to be rocket science. It's just got to be an idea that is is it could be something that keeps you up at night. You know, you're always wondering, like, if I, or it could be, if I was on a TEDx stage, I would talk about this, or I've seen a gap in in a work process or in an idea, or I've got this idea, I would talk about this. So, you know, it's just an idea, and it's someone may have already come up with something similar, but you can always deliver it in and tell it in a unique way. And what would make it unique is your own personal stories as well.
Mm.
So, so the first thing is, the secret sauce is, um, be authentic, be open and honest and authentic, and deliver it in your own authentic style. And that
Okay.
takes away all the fear of delivering the talk, right? Because you just have to be you. There's no one else to be. And then,
That's true, but I've got. I'm stopping you there is because everyone says that you've got to be you, but there is a structure to the madness as well, right?
no, there is a structure, but the structure is the structure, but who you are in the structure is you. So
Okay.
the structure is, you know, at the start of the talk, so the beginning and the end of your talk are crucial. The beginning, the first minute, you want to capture people's attention, you want to engage them, you want them to feel, oh my God, I want to listen to this talk. And the ending, you want to leave people with, I've just been moved, or I'm
Mm.
thinking differently here, or wow, that's left an impression on me, right? The other thing is with TED Talks, it's not a selling opportunity. So you're not there to sell your book or sell your business or sell this.
Mm.
That's a structure. That's part of the structure.
But you have to sell the idea, though. That's where I am baffled by people saying TEDx is different. How can it be different if you're selling an idea, if you're selling your story so that people can buy it and use it?
I think there's a difference in how you. I think you're not selling your story. You're you're sharing an idea that's worth spreading to get people to think differently. So you're sharing an idea and you're sharing stories to help explain that idea, to prove that idea. So with the storytelling part of creating a TEDx talk and how to build that credibility, which was your other question of thought leadership, you want to be able to give very good examples as to prove your idea. So it could be things like statistics that you can use to prove a point. You could have case studies that you can share. You can use client or testimonials. You could talk about research that's been done from other countries. Yes, and you would also talk about your own. You can talk about your own personal experience. So in my talk, I shared about a personal experience, my own, that got me started in the journey. And then I also talk about how in different countries they're using drama therapy in the Middle East to help victims of war trauma. They're
Mm.
using dance in India to help women from the red light district. They're using music therapy with kids. So I bring in examples that I used in other countries as examples. I bring in stats, like they say 55% of communication is through the body, or, you know, so things like that. I brought stats in, I brought in my own personal experience, I brought in research from other countries. So you can bring in certain things to validate your idea.
Mm. That's really interesting. So what if someone comes to you with nothing? How do you help them? They don't even have all they've got is this dream, or desire to become a TEDx speaker,
Yeah.
or just let's say public speaker in general. So how do you take them from that raw lay of the land to a perfect talk, which could be used in multiple on multiple stages, even if they're doing it off the TEDx stage? How do you take them? What is your process?
Sure. So it's all in the initial questioning. So I had someone who, after I finished my TEDx talk, this girl that I knew, she came to me and she said, I want to be a TEDx speaker. So I said, okay, what's your idea? I don't know.
Yeah.
I said, okay, so let's explore what's important to you. And she was interested in, I think, beauty at the time and women empowerment. And we started to look at, okay, what what's important to you about this? So asking the right questions, like starting off with what's important to you.
Hmm.
Why is it important to you? And it's usually the why part. And I'll dig deeper and deeper. And why is it important to you? And someone might say, um, I've used this with also my clients that have come to me with an idea. They come with an idea. So whether they come to me with an idea or with not, I use the same questioning process. Tell me why that's important to you. But okay, but why is that important to you? Ah, okay, because you want everyone to have a mentor. Okay, but why? Oh, because I had one. Oh, okay, tell me about that. What happened when you had one? Oh, this happened. I moved from this to this. Okay, so you want this for the people? Yes. Why? I'll keep going and asking why and why, because underneath it all is really the personal story as to why they want to talk about the idea, right? So that's
Hmm.
sometimes when it's a personal thing that's like linked to mentoring, and I'm only speaking from my clients, where it's linked to something personal, where they then have gone out into the world to create it, like mentoring or some form of work that they've done, or one of my clients has done a thesis and wants to talk about the research from the thesis, but it was like, why did you get into the thesis about post trauma? Because
Hmm.
she'd gone through it working in the health sector. So I
Hmm.
said, okay, tell me more about that. So I usually spend 45 minutes asking lots of questions. And then by the end of that, I will tell them what I think two or three of the ideas are. And then,
Hmm.
and then I work with them to build on it. Usually, I
Okay.
have to say, for them, it's a little bit like a therapeutic session because
Hmm.
they're just like, oh, I didn't feel that. I didn't know that, because they're not emotionally connected. Not everyone's emotionally connected to their talk. Um, but, there may be people who want to talk about something that's technical in the workplace, scientific, that. And it may be questions like, what could you fix? When you're at night and you can't sleep because you're thinking about something at work, what is that one thing that you're thinking about?
Hmm.
What is that one thing you would change? Why? The why
Yeah, that's
question.
interesting. That's
Yeah.
how long do you think a person who's coming raw or has got some idea, but that's transformed during the process of questioning? So, if questioning is the first stage of bringing out the ideas, so you said that you'll get two or three ideas, and you share these are the ideas you could you could build on. So uh, if they say if they are like me, no one is like me, I'm greedy. If you had given me three ideas, I was like, let's work three ideas.
Yeah. No,
Would
usually
be
it's
my
like one idea, but some different angles of the idea that we
okay.
explore. So, for example, it could be um, one of the ladies, she wanted to talk about post-traumatic trauma, post-traumatic disorder, and how her journey to get through it, and then she had the theses to prove her the findings for her lived experience. And when we started out, it was like, okay, we could talk about doctors in the medical field who go through this. We could talk about maybe the women empowerment angle from your thing, or maybe we can talk about there is hope from your talk. What is it? No, and it started off being about resilience, right? So
Okay.
we started. Sometimes the final theme doesn't come at the beginning. We start looking at what the idea might, the pitch might open up. So it was like, this is my experience. This is what I saw people in the community experience. It was like, okay, we're going through this, and it's like my resilience got me through. And then by the time I wrote her first pitch to go to the client, it had changed to connection. It was the connection to herself and the connection to her family that helped her come through the process and then reconnect to herself. So,
Mm.
like the idea from the start, sometimes from the initial discussion can change, but the what doesn't is the actual bulk of what the talk's going to be about.
Interesting. So now that they've got you asked the question and they've got ideas, and you said you made the connection to the theme of the talk, or the stage where she wanted to share her story. So what happens if there is no stage? Like she has not found a stage. Now she or he, whomever you're working with, are in the process of like, let me take myself as an example, because I am one of those people who will not apply until I've got my talk ready. At least I know this is what I want to share. And then I think that's where I am struggling. Maybe that's the reason I'm struggling, um,
Um, I think
to
that
match the pitch.
to write
Sorry,
the
match
pitch.
the theme so that I can pitch. So what happens in that stage, that they've come to you, they know, all they know is they want to become a TEDx speaker, and they come to you, you've spoken to them, they've come up with some ideas, they've got some stories to go with that idea, and then there comes another curator, or a curator, and says, oh, my talk is on sustainability, because I wanted to know how one can sustain in this world, of artificial intelligence, because that's one of my passion. So how can we sustain as a human in this artificial intelligence arena? So how do we add that element to it? Like, how do we apply which stage will accept my talk or my pitch?
So there's a few things there. One, I couldn't tell you which stage is going to accept your pitch.
Uh-huh.
I can't tell you that. Because
Okay.
you have to go through the application process, right? So
Okay.
um, there's ways you can do it. One, you might know somebody that's a curator, and you can ask them, and go in that way, like I did. I found someone, but then she did the work. But you can, so you have to apply, right? You got to have your idea about what you want to talk about and your pitch around that ready.
Mm.
What you what I normally do for my clients is I would find out what is the theme of their TEDx event, and then try and build that into the pitch. Sometimes they will tell you after initial contact, because each TEDx event has a different application process. So the larger events seem to have a more formal application process. Um, they all have different application processes. You absolutely should have your idea and your pitch ready to send to a TEDx event. You can
Okay.
find out what their theme is and build it into your pitch. You would fill out a application form that they have on a TEDx website, or Some of them create LinkedIn pages and you go on there. But TED.com has a list of TEDx events on there, and you just go there, find the city that you may want to talk at, and then find out who the contact person is. And my role, I contact them on whatever contact details they have there, or on LinkedIn or Instagram or whatever, and I ask them about it. Like, have you got your theme, and what are you? Do you need speakers? And then I work with my clients on their pitch and whatever, and then send it through the application process. So does
That is really good. That one is really good. Instead of the candidate themselves approaching these curators, it's better someone else approach them. I think this is where your marketing and communication skill set comes into play. That where you know how to transform without losing the gist of it, without losing the core element of this. So you know how to match the talk with the theme. And also you've got that transformational coach element where you've got the expressive arts element modalities come into play to extract the story out of their someone. So that means you would be helping someone who are quite rigid in sharing their personal stories and mapping up. Because of your experience as a transformational coach, you would use those modalities to extract the story and define it in such a way that it's not hard for someone to share their authenticity. You know what I mean? Sometimes they struggle. Oh, I don't want to tell that story.
No, but yeah, I do create balance with that, you know. So with all my clients, I try and, you know, the first conversations are usually the coaching conversations, the transformational aspects of it, because I'm trying to get down to their idea. And the quickest way for me to help them is to get them connected to their emotions around it, and then tell me their story. And it requires patience. It requires a couple of conversations to go deeper to understand what's really going on. So a client of mine at the moment, we started off talking about the industry that he works in and how he wants to change the narrative of that industry. And so in the first conversation, we had a whole sort of his pitch and talking points for his talk ready in 45 minutes. It's like, okay, this incident happened in your life. You went into this industry, and this is what you want to tell people about the industry and open up their minds about it. Great. I had a second session with him, and it changed. It was still about the industry, but more now about the judgment that he faced working in that industry and the judgment of that industry. And how that came about is at the start, I went, okay, this is what we talked about last time. Yeah, great. Okay. So tell me a bit more about something came up about, tell me more about how you felt in that process. And he said, oh, you know, there was judgment. There was this. I said, no, tell me about the emotions. Oh, I felt angry. I thought, okay, great. And then as we built out, we came up with an idea that is about judgment. It's very similar to Monica Lewinsky's TEDx talk, where she talks about the shame that she went through years later after, you know, her career ended with Bill Clinton. So it was very interesting about like how the first couple of conversations are quite transformational. And then I use storytelling. That's where I use my marketing and comm skills after that. And then I have worked with senior leaders within the industries that I've worked in to prep them for speaking gigs. So, and I've been on stage since I was a kid, either reading in assemblies or taking part in shows. So I understand concepts around stage presence and body language and using your tonality and things like that. So I can bring all of that together. It's quite a transformative process working with me
Yeah,
because
of course. Yes, interesting. I
yeah.
am looking forward to working with you, to be frank with. And what, so how long typically would it take? How you already
I'll
have
be honest
mentioned
with you,
sessions at least.
your pitch and your pitch and your talk could be done within a couple of days working with me,
Okay.
right? It's more than the application process,
Okay.
finding a TEDx event and applying. And sometimes, what happens is, for example, two of the events that my clients have applied for already, one of them is in July and the other one is in October. So sometimes there's a 6-month lead from applying to when the talk is actually happening. And in those 6 months, the event itself will work with the client to coach them, to prep them, and things like that for the talk. In other times,
Do
like
you
whatever.
come off during that period, like when once someone gets the speakership role in on that stage? That's when the or the talk. I don't know how to define that.
So
They will take over, right?
my my services is quite modular. So I work with the pitch. I work with you to get your pitch ready, and then if
Hmm.
you want me to work with you on your talk, I'll prep you on your talk. I'll help you write your talk. What normally happens is I stop there because the events itself,
Yeah.
they have
Nice.
speaker coaches, right?
Yeah.
So you don't need me, but if you want to work with me, I still work with you on your delivery or practice or things like that, and then I can work with them to create a promotional plan for the TEDx talk. So bring my marketing,
What did he say?
a promotional plan.
Promotional. Okay.
So once your TEDx talk is done, you want to make sure that the number of views on it on YouTube, one, that you get as many views as possible in the first hour, day or two. Secondly, you raise the numbers because first of all, there's credibility at the level of I'm a TEDx speaker. And then there's the credibility of I've got over that TEDx talk or that TEDx speaker has over 1 million views on their website. So, and then there's two ways you can do that. You can do that organically through yourself, or you can pay for some services to do that, to work with you to do that. So, yeah, it's
Well, that's interesting. I may not need the other part, but that's fine. At least I know what you are working with the other
yeah.
clients as well. Oh, that's very interesting. Okay, so where can we find you? I know how to find you, but where can
So,
others who want to become a next
so
speaker?
I'm currently working on my website. So, but I do take inquiries on through my Instagram handle, which is at Vishali
I'll do
underscore
that. Yeah.
TEDx. And you can email me directly. So I think Sudha's going to put all the contact details underneath. So at the moment, or you can find me on LinkedIn, whichever way to contact me until my website's done. Then you could come on my website.
Ooh, that's good.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to your website. I am a website person, so it's like I'm a techie, so that's I am so curious and
Yeah.
all of those. Thank you really very much. Before I let you go, I want to ask few fun questions.
Sure.
What does Vaishali do at 2 o'clock in the morning? The fire alarm goes off. What are the three things Vaishali would take out and run?
What are the three
Three
things
things.
I will take out at 2 o'clock in the morning? My glasses. I need to see where I'm going. So my glasses, my mobile phone, and depends now. If it's warm, then I might take some food. If it's cold, I might take my coat.
Oh, that's good. No one has said food and no one has said glasses. So you're different in that way. And the second question is like, are you a tea or a coffee person?
Oh, both. Oh, it's so
Not
hard.
at all.
Yeah. I love oat milk lattes, and I'm a bit of a coffee snob. I like really good coffee, but equally, I love a cup of PG tips
Yeah,
with.
I am a coffee and tea snob. There are particular way for me to do it. No one can do it, just me who could do it.
Yeah.
That's my so I avoid. I love Starbucks coffee though. I don't know. They're not sponsoring me, by the way. I do. I do love Starbucks coffee.
I'm a Costa. I love Costa, but I love
I am addicted to Starbucks. Ooh,
no,
always.
I love artisan coffee when you get really good coffee from New Zealand or Australia. I love that kind
Yeah,
of coffee. I'm
I
open to
am
sponsorship.
specialty. Yeah, I am one of those specialty coffee person as well. I am a coffee snob in that case. Anyway, so the third question is, are you, I know what your answer is going to be, but I'm going to try it. Are you countryside person or city person when you go on a vacation?
If I go in a that's hard. Because it's a bit of both. I don't know. Like, I don't know, both. Again, I know I'm saying this, but I think if I was really stressed out, I'd probably want to go to a countryside. But something that has a bit of both would be amazing. You know,
Yes.
have the city.
I think you, when you're going out on a vacation, you need to find both the sites and
Yeah.
experience that. Oh, that's great. Thank you very much. That was fun. Thank you. I asked you too many questions as well. Like, I am one of those people who ask questions and I need to know everything. If you let me, I will keep you here for another 2 3 hours to find out everything about, oh, how do I do this one, because there's so much story to share with you. And I was like, I want to know where I'm going wrong. That's my biggest challenge as well. Like, once you know where you're going wrong, it's easier to find the solution. If you don't know where you're going wrong, it's really really hard. Thank you very much for your time, Vaishali. Really appreciate that. And for, when do you think your website will be up and running? Or maybe when people are watching on YouTube, they can find out, right?
Yeah. In a month or so,
Okay.
by
Good.
the end of May. Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. Thank you very much. I'm going to take you off the screen and finish off my show.
Thank
Thanks
you.
a lot. Thank you. That's all for today's episode in our expert interview show. We hope you enjoyed the insights and strategies shared by our amazing guest, Vaishali. And again, don't forget to subscribe, follow, like, and comment on our episodes so that we can reach more people just like you. And also, if you want to share, please do share it so we can get more subscribers. And that's all I've got to share with you today. Thanks for tuning in, and we will see you in the next episode. Until then, be intentionally happy, be strategically growing, and help anyone you can, because you might be the only one lending the hand. Bye for now.